Hi, I'm Dr. Valerie Small, and I am here today to continue with my series on marriage and the family and what ingredients it takes to have a healthy and lasting marriage. And I have a guest here with me. He's going to introduce himself, and he's going to share with us how long he's been married and what he thinks and what he believes and what he knows it takes to have a healthy marriage for over 30-something years. But let's hear from him. First, I want to thank you for joining me and thank you for being a part of this segment. So could you do me a favor and introduce yourself and share with us how long you've been married?
Okay, thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome.
Eric Glaudet is my name, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker.
Wow.
I've been doing this, I've been practicing for about 35 years, and I've been in psychoanalysis, or what we call treatment, for about 50 years.
Okay.
I am a supervisor of social work students, interns, and other social worker practitioners.
Okay.
And I've been married for 37 years come August 29th. So it's been a quite interesting life.
Okay.
You know,
okay. Okay.
And I could respond in two ways. I can't believe it's been that long.
Wow.
It happened very quickly.
Okay.
And I've had my ups and downs. We have had our ups and downs. I love my wife.
Yes.
She is, if you like signs and you might be curious, she's a Gemini.
Whoa.
Geminis are two people. And sometimes if this will give you a flavor of how our marriage is.
Mm-hmm.
We argue sometimes, and I'm not really an arguer. I think I'm a fielder. If the argument comes, I field the argument, okay? You can take it whatever way you want to, you know?
Okay.
Like a pun or whatever. But like she would get mad at me, and all of a sudden, it's as if she changes from that person that I'm really crazily in love with to somebody that is like really angry at me. And so, we were doing fine a second ago or so, and then she changes, and I said, "Excuse me, what happened to the other one?" And she looked at me, "I am the other one." So, okay, all right. Well, I don't like you, you know? But we do that. Mm-hmm. Now, I've been in psychoanalysis myself, or treatment, for quite some time.
Well, now let me ask you something. You're saying that you've been in treatment for quite some time.
That's the theme.
So that's the theme. So you give the treatment and also you receive the treatment.
Oh, yeah.
So I have an episode coming up, segment coming up, talking about premarital counseling and the importance of having counseling.
Absolutely.
So you actually have had counseling.
Oh, yes.
And is that one of the ingredients for a healthy and lasting marriage and committed relationship that you believe should actually take place?
Well, if I can reframe that.
Yes, you can.
It is the underpinning of my relationship. The only thing that I can really account for me being married this long is because I've been in treatment. Now, what does that really mean? I have what I call treatment is at least 3 times a week. Okay? If you go 2 times a week, fine. In my practice, I encourage the person to go at least once individually and once in group. Okay. That usually 2 times a week, of course, and it gives you a good sense or insight into how you relate with other people and how you can examine yourself and get in touch with your feelings.
Now, let me ask you something, and this has nothing to do with if there's problems in the relationship. You're just talking about going to counseling.
If you do that, then you really will be able to manage those problems in the relationship well. So that's the bottom. Like I said, it's the underpinning or the backdrop of the relationship, because you are required, or you put in a situation where, first of all, you take time out for yourself. This is your time for you to examine how you feel. That's the bottom line. You have to talk about how you feel. And once you get in touch with how you feel, then you can do anything that you want to. You don't have to, you can continue down the road or the behavior that you are experiencing, or you can change. But you will at least know, you'll have a good sense that you have that problem, or you have resolved that problem.
Wow.
You can keep the problem if you want to, but you can't say, well, I didn't know, because you're going to examine yourself, get in touch with those feelings, and then decide to do something about it.
Okay. So one ingredient is counseling, pre-marriage counseling, during the marriage. What is the second ingredient that you believe is contributes or helps longevity in a marriage?
Oh, very good
what's
question.
The number 2?
Very good question. You got to, as we say in the alcohol rooms of AA, take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth.
Excuse us for 1 second. Yes. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So that's the second one. You have to listen. Please listen. And if the person who you're listening to has a point, or it's just simply talking, it's very important. This is such an important point. If they've said something that really strikes you, ask them to say it again. If they repeat it, because they must hear what they're saying as well as you have to hear what they're saying. This is a fabulous dynamic, and this is a growing in a healthy way. This is what I call wellness. You hear that person, and you make sure you hear it, and then it's really great to have them to say it again.
Wow.
Now, my wife will say, I already said it one time. I'm not going to say it again. I said, well, I didn't hear you.
I can imagine the two of you. I can imagine. And I can't wait to talk to her. I can imagine. So far we have 2 ingredients. One is counseling.
Oh, yes.
Number 2 is listening. What's a third ingredient for a long-lasting marriage that you believe and that you've been practicing? What's the third?
Well, I guess it's a combination of the other 2, or the answer to the other 2. You got to love yourself. You have to really like you. I have to like me. I'm crazy about me. I enjoy my life, and I know that part of it is my liking myself, of course, but it's also welcoming other people and genuinely saying how much I am listening and I'm concerned and that I care.
Wow. So that's self-love. That self-love is really important.
You know, the thing that when you said that, what strikes me is how many people are committing suicide because they're not happy with themselves.
That's right. And
you know, I was in the military, and I do treatment with military veterans, combat veterans, veterans who are citizen soldiers, and everything in between, women and men. And there are over 22 veterans committing suicide a day.
Wow.
And we're finding out that most of the ones that are committing suicide aren't the ones that have been in the combat zone, who haven't really been shot at.
Wow.
I could say a few things about that, but they are the ones who commit suicide less. But there's that much suicide being committed.
Wow.
In the military and in regular life too.
That's exactly right.
So there is a suicide hotline that you can call.
Okay.
And it's a national suicide hotline.
Yes.
So you can always ask for the information and have that. I strongly consider that.
Wow.
So anyway, I had to put that part in because it's close to my heart.
Yes.
And I'm so concerned about that. And people just do not love themselves.
Not loving themselves. Self-love.
We can go further into that too.
Yes, we can.
You know, but that's bottom line.
But that's the bottom line. And as we close this segment, and I'm glad that you're talking about the self-love aspect, because a lot of times people are going into committed relationships without the self-love.
Yes,
and then they're expecting for someone else to validate who they are, I believe, or even, you know, be their cheerleader, which is, I think, is all good because we want cheerleaders. But when they don't get it, sometimes that can lead to other things. And the self-love, what you're saying, is really key. Is the magnet.
It really is, you know. You can talk about spirituality, which is very important. And then you can talk about feeling loved.
Yes.
But if you don't love yourself, all the rest of that stuff does not work. You know, I know people who have said, you know, I pray and I ask the Lord or God to get me through this. That's fine, you know, and I strongly support that. But you have to care for yourself.
Wow. Wow.
You have to love yourself.
Well, final question. I just want to throw this in real quick. Being married that many years, I want to know, I want to close this and summarize this with you telling us, you sharing us, what tip would you give couples and individuals dealing with conflict within the marriage? How should that be resolved?
All right. Get into treatment.
Okay.
Get into psychotherapy.
Yes.
And work at it. Work at yourself. And when you get into those conflicts, like what I did, because I surely wanted to leave many times. There's something, by the way, called the 7-year itch.
The 7-year itch.
Yes. If you don't know that, look it up.
Okay.
There's a movie about it too, by the way.
Okay.
But the issue is that as you go through these things, you have to make sure that you are in touch with your feelings, and to realize that, you know, you are one humble person, or at least you should be.
Okay.
And it looks, well, if something's going on with this relationship, what is my role? What am I doing to cause this problem?
Wow.
Look at yourself.
Wow.
Examine yourself.
The self again. So we are contributors. It's not just one person.
It's what you bring to the table.
Okay.
And you have to examine that. What you are bringing. What part of this is your role? Why did this happen? Why did you help create this? Wow.
Wow. Well, I want to thank you for joining me, and thank you for sharing these tips. And I got a fourth one out of you, and I'm glad.
What was that?
The conflict, how to deal with the conflict. And then you took us back again. So I got 4 out of you. But I want to say thank you for sharing and opening up with your personal experience and your marriage experience and what you believe are the key ingredients.
Well, I forgot about this one thing.
Okay.
You know, beauty is only skin deep, and when that changes, which it will, you know, there has to be something else. And that's why I would suggest you wait about 3 years before you get married, because you're going to have that buddy too. That person has to watch your back, and you have to watch back. We call them battle buddies in the military. So I guess we would call them, and in school we call them study buddies.
Study buddies.
Yes, but in marriage you would call them partners.
Wow.
So,
partners.
Yes, and you know, sex is not going to be there all the time. I'm telling you, sex between you may fantasize and think about other relationships and wanting to have other relationships with other people, but believe me, it's a fantasy. It isn't really what you thought it might be. I'm telling you,